So this video and what we're about to talk about is not meant to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease or illness in the body. This is just for information and educational purposes only. So what I want you to pay attention to are the stressors and items that fall under the item category. So these are going to be endogenous and or exogenous stressors. So stressors that can come from within the body or outside of the body. Next, take a look at the outcome. That's actually the reading or the results for that particular client. And anything in the green is going to indicate balance. And the higher the number, which would be the highest would be over 91 negative or positive, would be in the red or black. That's going to indicate severe stress for that particular client. So the first items that I'm testing for him today are the reflex emotion points. So these have to do with trapped or blocked emotions that are linked to particular organs. So it's going to be important that we detect these and that we actually clear them so that this person can release those and move forward. So you can see the pituitary sex gland is linked to unfulfilled and greed. So that is negative 117. So that's a high stressor. Scrolling down, some of the main causes that I find that really affect the body. So looking at a person's polarity, if they're reversed, electromagnetic frequencies, of course, wireless radiation, you can see negative 69 for this person. So that is a pretty significant stressor. And if we scroll down, there's actually glyphosate. So obviously that is very important because that is found in our food supply and our water supply. And we already know that glyphosate is a chemical that's been linked to cancer. So for this person, his number is 183. That's a severe stress. And with the red, that's going to indicate acute. So that's not going to, it's going to be something more current versus long ago. Next, we have negative 85. This is going to be chemicals for this particular person. That could be the glyphosate, but it really could be a whole host of chemicals. And you can see it's in a folder. So what I can do is I can actually dig in a little bit deeper and scan that particular folder to find out what exact chemicals. Next, you can see some black. Those are very concerning. Pure water contaminants. So anything that's going to be foreign, any xenobiotic that's foreign to the body that comes in through the water is affecting this particular client. And next we have industrial toxins. So anything having to do with the environment, perhaps something he's breathing, it could be in his home, his car, or his workplace. Next, the next black, you can see negative 142, and again, that's pretty high. Scars and adhesions. So I see this often. So think about if you don't have a physical scar, everyone has a belly button, so that is a scar too. But a lot of people have had, any kind of cuts or scrapes or perhaps surgeries, and those absolutely affect the nervous system and they do affect the body. So it's important to detect those, and then with my machine, I'm able to clear those with the imprinting that I do. So the next stressor that you can see is the negative 115, and that is a dairy sensitivity for this person. And it doesn't even mean that he is necessarily eating dairy. It just means if he were to, it would create a severe, so remember, red or black indicate severe stress. And he also has the positive 187, so that's going to be in the red. That's going to be to grains. So he does have a severe sensitivity to grains and dairy. So next on the list, I do a lot of limes. So his numbers aren't low. They're kind of middle of the road, but you have to remember, as we're testing and assessing and clearing, it's going to be all based on Hering's law. So the body will present and heal based on the top down inside out, the most urgent to least, and present to past. So this is really about peeling back the layers to get to the core of the onion. So these numbers are going to be kind of, they're pretty high. They're not as high as the red or the black, but these are going to indicate acute stress. So I have some parasites in there, mitochondrial matches, and looking at the cytochrome transport's important, and cell membrane for sure. But mitochondrial integrity is critical. So we'll be clearing those. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, if we just take a peek here, we can see his top stressors are going to be in the red or black. So scars and adhesions in that reflex emotion point, the pituitary gland for unfulfilled and greed, that's the emotions, dairy sensitivity, pure water, contaminants, and industrial toxins. So those are the real severe concerning stressors. And then these are the acute ones. So these are severe too, but they're acute. That's going to be a grain sensitivity and glyphosate, which interestingly enough go hand in hand because they use glyphosate to harvest grains. And again, we already know that glyphosate has been proven and shown to be linked to digestive issues, inflammation, lowered immune system, and potential cancers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the abnormal top 50 and I'm going to stick that into what's called a provoke. So it's going to be his top 50 stressors. And then what I'm going to do is test different homeopathics that are going to go onto my test plate. So then we retest with his particular stressors. And I go through the different homeopathics and we find which homeopathic balances him the best with these particular stressors. And then that information is then recorded onto the homeopathic. And so now it becomes very specific. It's like a fingerprint. Nobody is ever going to have this particular homeopathic with these exact stressors. So it is very unique and very specific, which is very helpful. And then the client will take the homeopathic, a few supplements. We'll talk about diet, obviously cutting out the grains and dairy. And he will come back in 2 weeks. And then what we do is we retest the exact same stressors, and then we look for the changes in progress. And typically many of the stressors will get better, but some of them will actually look like they've gotten worse because, again, it's peeling back the layers. We're working through Herring's law. And the ones that are higher, those were the ones that were driven in deeper, and we've brought them to the surface. And so we continue through that, just peeling back the layers. And then once I'm able to see what stressors come to the surface, then I'm able to dig deeper into my virtual library because I have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of potential different signals that I'm able to test for. So I can kind of go in different directions based on what's happening for that particular client. And we just continue to peel back the layers. And I typically recommend 6 appointments 2 weeks apart, and then we can kind of go from there. You can find more information on my blog. It's integrativenutritionaltherapies.com/assessments. And there is more information on the testing there. And my office is in West Michigan. Thanks for watching.